Hey, good morning, everyone. Today we're following the historical account of God choosing Abram to be the father of a great nation. And the promise is God has promised to be their God, and that he has promised to bless them, not because they've done anything to deserve it, but they can be blessed so they can be a blessing to the whole world. And chapter 15 starts out with God appearing to Abram in a vision. And he says, "Don't be afraid, Abram." And Abram comes back to God and says, "Well, God, you know, this whole father of a great nation thing, there's only one problem. I don't have any kids. And my wife and I are in our 80s. And the Lord takes him outside and he says, you guys are going to have your own kids, own child, own son specifically. And he says, look into the heavens. And he says that that's the stars, the number of stars show how many descendants you're going to have. So in verse 6 of chapter 15, Abram, the writer says, and Abraham believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. But verse 8 goes on to say, even with his belief, it says that Abraham came back to the Lord and says, how can I be sure that I will actually possess this? And now, here's where it gets a little weird for our 21st century minds. It gets a little strange because though this was normal back in this day and age, it certainly is not normal in our age to make a promise in this way. Actually, we're calling it, the scriptures call it a covenant. And it's a covenant is an agreement between two parties. And I know that to cut animals in half and then lay them opposite each other and then walk between them to seal a deal or cut a deal is not the way that we do things. It was in that day and age. Sometimes it was called a blood oath. Today we would probably go to a lawyer and draw up some papers and have both parties sign it. Or it's not too long ago that people would actually spit in their hands and shake hands with it. Or even it's not that long ago that we would actually shake hands. But when the parties involved would walk between these two sets of animals, the half animal halves, they were saying, may this be done to me if I do not keep this oath. However, in this particular covenant, it's very important to note that this was a different one. God appeared as a smoking fire pot and as a flaming torch, and he's the one who passes between the two halves of animals. God had put Abram to sleep, into a deep sleep. And so the covenant was one-sided. It was sealed by God alone. Abraham, nothing depended on him. Everything depended on God, who promised to be faithful to his covenant. And of course, this covenant was one that looked ahead 2,500 years to Jesus. In the New Testament, we read that he would shed his blood by dying on the cross for us to forgive our sins. And his promise was this sacrifice was once and for all, final payment for our sinfulness. No animals needed. Jesus' sacrifice and his covenant is a free gift. It's something that he gives to us who, like Abraham, receive it by faith. And there's so much more we could say about this, but one thing for sure, I want you to go out today confident, knowing that we have a promise-making and promise-keeping God who is absolutely crazy about you. So go out and share his love with others. Have a wonderful day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.